Alright guys, so in the last video we took a look at properties and methods. Okay, so we created some user properties, constructor, and some custom methods here, and we just did some stuff in the console. Now I want to work on actually having some output, and there's different ways to bind data to the template from our component. String interpolation is one of them. Basically it's used by putting in double curly braces like this, and then any expression, we can do any JavaScript expression that can evaluate to a string. So I can actually put in like hello and save, and we get hello. So we could do that, and we could even do stuff like math, because numbers can also evaluate to strings. Even if I put like a 20 in there, that'll work. If I do 1 plus 1, so it'll actually do the math and then output it as a string. Alright, but this isn't usually what you would use string interpolation for. Usually what you would use it for is to output properties. Okay, so it basically allows you to have variables inside of your template. So instead of having just John Doe written here, what we could do is we could take the first name and last name properties and we could bind them to our template using string interpolation. So let's get rid of this and let's put in our double curly brace here, and we could say first name, we'll put a space here, and then we'll say last name and save, and we should still get John Doe. Now if I go to our component here and change the last name to, let's say, Smith, and save, we'll get John Smith. Okay, so now we're allowed to have basically variables inside of our HTML, which is really cool and really powerful. So let's put underneath the H2, we'll put in a UL, and let's put a couple LIs here. So let's put in the age. Now, even though the age is a number, if I go ahead and I save this, you'll see it's still going to output, and it's outputting as a string. Basically a number, like I said, a number can be converted to a string. So even if we use TypeScript here, and we're going to get into this later where we can actually type it as a number, we can still use it in string interpolation. Alright, so another thing we can do is, actually before we get into method return values, I just want to add another property here called address. And I'm going to actually set this one to an object. So, I mean, I'm sure you guys know basic JavaScript. This is an object literal, so it can have multiple values. We'll say street. Let's do 50 Main Street. Oops. So 50 Main Street. We'll say city, Boston, and state, Mass. Okay, so we can go back to our template now, and let's put in another li, and let's put the address all on one line here. So we'll say address, which is the name of the property. It's an object which has a street value, so we'll do street. We'll do city, and we'll do state. So we'll save that, and now you can see we have our address output. Now one thing to note is that the age here is 31, even though it's set to 30 here, because in our constructor in the last video we did this has birthday where we incremented the age by 1. Now the constructor is going to get run before the output, so that's why 31 is showing here and not 30. The constructor runs and then it shows our template, it shows the output. So if we were to get rid of this, actually we'll just get rid of all of this. Yeah, we'll get rid of that and these two. And save, and now our age will go back to 30. Now we could also we could use string interpolation with method return values. So if we wanted to do like show age, there's really no reason to do this, but just to show you as an example, if we wanted to return this dot age and save, and then go to our HTML, and instead of just putting the age property directly, we could actually just do show age like that and save, and we still get 30. And we could go ahead and we could do like return this dot age plus 2, and it should give us 32. All right, so that is string interpolation. Now up to this point, we haven't used any types with our properties or methods or anything like that. So in the next video, I want to get more into TypeScript and using types. Now, obviously, they're not mandatory because everything's been working fine without them. But it is good practice. It makes your code more robust. It makes it less prone to errors. So that's what we'll do in the next video. We'll take a look at adding types to our properties and methods.